This is NDTV. And you're watching NDTV Hindu.
The Commonwealth Games scam gets murkier. Key aides of Kalmadi get a stick of suspension while the treasurer of Commonwealth resigns. MS Gill tells the opposition there is nothing ready in the Commonwealth Games, so there's nothing to examine.
कि ये मामला जिस हिस्ट्री से बना है ये ना हमारा है ना इनका है, इनका भी है और हमारा भी है और सबका है, ये देश का है.
Finance Minister says price rise is not just his headache, says it's a collective responsibility to curb it. The rest of the country makes up the rain deficiency, but Eastern India struggles as the shadow of a drought looms large. Hello and welcome, I'm Sai Manish, you're watching the Late Night News. While every national channel in this country is going gung-ho with a murky scam that has hit the Commonwealth Games, which is by every means, and I'm sure you'd agree, a shameful indicator of how Indian administrators can mess up with the responsibility that's given to them. Of course, we'll get you that story. But here in Tamil Nadu, a similar instance of administrative failure and corporate greed is emerging. The culprit is SIPCOT, and those at the receiving end are poor, unsuspecting residents of a little-known village called Thervoy. We will get you that full expose of SIPCOT's bizarre claims and how the government of the day is becoming a land shark. Here's a look at our top stories. An NDTV Hindu expose, look at how SIPCOT has bended rules to steal from the poor to set up an SEZ. After giving the stick, Chief Minister Karnanidhi dangles a carrot, says landlords overcharging their tenants will be jailed. CPM State Secretary alleges party men in Madurai are receiving death threats from the DMK. Global leaders hit out on the Sri Lankan government for marginalizing the Tamils, say Colombo has to let the United Nations do its job. And all in the name of the divine. Here's a special way of keeping God happy. A fortnight ago, NDTV Hindu brought you the story of how land meant for community purposes was grabbed by the ruling DMK to build an SEZ in Thervoy village in Tiruvallur district. In a second round of investigations, NDTV Hindu has questions for SIPCOT. Has the corporation bent rules and built a highly damaging investment hub? Environmentalists wonder if SIPCOT's own assessment of the threat to people's livelihood is a contradiction in itself. An indication perhaps that for industrialization, the government will go to any extent.
Tears well up in Kunti Ammal's eyes when she thinks of the past of her village, Thervoy. Grief boils over into anger when reminded of the future. At her age, she obviously can't lead a crusade, not even a protest. But the ferocity of her determination not to let SIPCOT's Special Economic Zone come up on the lands her forefathers fought for is evident.
Here we are in Thervoy again, this time with the Environmental Impact Assessment report prepared by SIPCOT itself. Now, one look through this internal document of SIPCOT and you'll realize that more than an environmental impact assessment, this is a marketing and sales document which hinges on near absurdity. For one, social, economic and environmental parameters are totally ignored, and this is more like a sales document aimed at luring foreign investors to pump in millions of dollars to buy these pristine lands for cheap.
Look at this document. Its nemesis lies in its own contradictions. SIPCOT in its report claims there are no sensitive zones around. Even this, the Nemalur Reserve Forest is quoted to be dispensable.
Adjoining area is a reserve forest, and also it is a water catchment area.
Claim number 2, and one of the most bizarre ones. Sipcot has said that the Michelin tire factory and a glass factory that will come up here are neither air nor water polluting. Activists claim that one of the prime suspects responsible for dead fishes floating on the river Ganga in Haridwar is the Birla tire factory in Luxor. Then of course the upcoming suburb of Bhandup in Mumbai, where residents are up in arms against the Seat tire factory after everything around them is covered in black soot every single day. Claim number 3. Sipcot maintains the entire land is barren with no human habitations. Photos with NDTV Hindu show Sipcot officials clearing vegetation, chopping trees and even pouring acid over them to prevent further growth. All this under police protection, with a DSP in attendance. Just within 3 kilometers from Terwoi, there are 3 villages including Karadiputtur and Sagar Reddy Kandigai. Sipcot itself admits there are 7 villages within the non-permissible radius of 10 kilometers. When NDTV Hindu contacted the top brass of Sipcot, they refused to comment, even off the record.
They cut the trees and they done great damage, and also we saw our own eyes there are huge borewell being done here in the forest. Yeah.
And finally, Sipcot's most astonishing statement. Social acceptance to its Terwoi SEZ is encouraging. Listen to the villagers of Terwoi yourself.
ஒரு போட்டாங்கன்னா கொடுத்துருவானுங்க. இந்த ஊரில் நம்ம எல்லாம் கட்டி விடுவோன்னு அந்த ரப்பர் போட்டாங்கன்னா கொடுத்துருவாங்க. எங்களுக்கு எவ்வளோ வயசு தெரியுமா இந்த இடத்துல, எங்களுக்கு வயசு இல்லாத அளவுக்கு போயிட்டாங்களே இவங்க. குழந்தை குட்டிகளை எடுத்துட்டு மாட்டானா கூட சாவடிச்சிடலாம். குழந்தை குட்டிகளை எடுத்துட்டு போய் எங்கே சாவடிக்கிறது? அரிசி வாட்டாங்க காசு பண்ணாங்க. அந்த மாதிரி யாராவது மக்களை காப்பாற்றணும். எங்களுக்கு வயசுல அப்படியே இடி மாதிரி கடவுளை.
This evening, a symbol of destruction menacingly rolls by. That court orders and India's laws are being blatantly violated in Terwoi hasn't yet sunk in for many. In 1856, Kunti Ammal's grandfather took part in a peasant revolt that shook the foundations of Zamindari system in Terwoi. 150 years later, the Zamindars are gone, only to be replaced by a tyrannical government and a spineless, unpolitical middle class, which couldn't care less about these people losing their basic rights. With camera person Raja Singh, this is Sai Manish for NDTV Hindu. Well, Mr. Narendra Madi, the MD of Sipcot, has been evasive to media persons till now. There are four basic questions we are asking here to you, Mr. Madi. Questions whose satisfactory answers from you can go a long way in assuaging the fears of people who are at the receiving end of your investment strategies. Moving on, first you give the stick, then dangle the carrot. Well, that's what Chief Minister Karunanidhi has done after hiking electricity charges in the state. Now, if you are a tenant being charged unfairly by your landlord for your electricity bills, you can put him behind bars. But is this just an eyewash by the DMK? Shabir Ahmed reports.
This 30-year-old resident of Chennai says he's a victim of overcharging. He says whether or not he used the electric power in his rented house, he pays more than 200 rupees every month.
வீட்டில் வாடகை தான் இருக்கிறாங்க. வீட்டில் இப்போ பார்த்தீங்கன்னா ஒரு டீ பிளேட்டு, ஒரு ஃபேனு, அதான் சீலிங் ஃபேனு, ஒரு டேபிள் ஃபேனு, ஒரு டிவி இப்படின்னு போட்டால் 200 கேட்குறாங்க சார் மாதம். ஆனால் கம்பல்சரி, அதாவது வீட்டில் இருந்தாலும் இல்லாட்டாலும் கம்பல்சரி 200 கொடுத்துடணும். அது இல்லாமல் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா இப்போ நடுவில் வாஷிங் மிஷினோ ஃப்ரிட்ஜோ கிரைண்டரை ஓட்டினா அதுக்கு தனியாக 100 கொடுத்துருங்கன்னு சொல்கிறாங்க. அதேமாதிரி சரி ஓகே கொடுத்துட்றேன் சார். எங்கள் வீட்லேயும் அப்படி தான், பக்கத்தில் எல்லா வீட்லையும் எங்கள் வாடகை பக்கத்தில் இருக்கிறவங்களாம் எல்லாரும் அப்படி தான் கொடுக்குறாங்க.
House owners overcharging for electricity is a common thing in Chennai, and authorities have never objected to this so far, while tenants accept the terms reluctantly and never report the violation. In a stern warning to house owners, the Tamil Nadu Electricity Regulatory Commission has said charging more than rupees 4.05 paise per unit of power is illegal. It said violators will be fined up to 1 lakh rupees and face imprisonment up to 3 months under the Electricity Act. The Commission has also urged residents to register their complaints with the electricity authorities. In Chennai, with Shabir Ahmed, J. Santosh for NDTV Hindu.
Now on to the top national story we've been tracking throughout the day. The Joint Director General of CWG organizing committee T.S. Darbari has been suspended. Darbari was accused of a customs fraud, importing diamond jewellery without paying customs duty, and also On the line of suspension is Sanjay Mahindru, close aide of Organising Committee Chairman Suresh Kalmadi. An email, in fact, sent by Mahindru to the Commonwealth. In fact, the email was sent to Ashish Patel of AM Films, and that's reported to have brought Sanjay Mahindru in the limelight. The email has unveiled the fact that Mahindru is the culprit behind inflated taxi prices. It has accused him of giving contracts to those firms that have inflated products and services during the Queen's Baton function held in October 2009 in London.
And Mr. Anil Khanna sent his resignation. So the board accepted the resignation of Mr. Anil Khanna, and they requested Mr. Ashok Mattu to take over this responsibility of the treasurer, especially when only the 6 weeks, 45 days left for the athletes to come to Delhi for the games. As he was the treasurer earlier, so he understands his responsibility and the working of the federation. So finally he has agreed to take over as the treasurer of the organizing committee again.
Well, also Anil Khanna, if heads rolled, in fact, Anil Khanna chose a moral high ground. In fact, he was the treasurer of the Games Organizing Committee. He decided to put in his papers rather than being sacked. This after it was revealed that the contract for laying 14 synthetic surfaces for a Commonwealth tennis venue was awarded to an Australia-based company called Rebound Ace, whose India branch is run by Anil Khanna's son. In fact, the Rebound rubberized surface was approved even though it's been criticized by several leading players, including Roger Federer and Leighton Hewitt in the past.
In January 2010, when the entire process of these tennis courts was over, I was not a part of the OC, so I have no conflict of interest as a member of the organizing committee in 2009. This process was over in December 2009. When Mr. Mattu decided to resign, then I was requested by Kalmadi Saab, our chairman, that I should take over the position. I had expressed to him that I'm a person who doesn't have that much time, but on his compulsion, I decided that it was my duty to serve the nation in whatever manner I could do, and I decided to join the organizing committee. I understand that the Rebound Ace also is looking forward to associating itself with Commonwealth Games and therefore has given such a low quote. The next best offer, I believe, was from another manufacturer, which is the same company, Decoturf and FlexiPace, whose representative is Mr. Mahesh Bhupati and Gaurav Naitakar of Pune, whom have done the courts in Pune, where no tender was invited. Their company had given a quote which was, I think, 40 to 50 lakh rupees more than Rebound Ace. So I think the government of India has saved 50 lakh rupees by going through the tender process, by going to the International Tennis Federation and selecting an international standard.
Well, this man that you just heard might have put down his papers, and 3 of Kalmadi's close aides might have been down and out. But that came after heavy drama in Parliament today. That's where the Sports Minister, MS Gill, was put in a tough spot by the opposition. MS Gill was cornered, in fact, and he said that CWG preparations are only on paper and that Gill would not be able to inspect everything. Gill also ruled out the possibility of an independent inquiry into the corruption matters of those in the organizing committee of the Commonwealth Games.
And they will be there. If more committees could solve things in this country, please have 10 more. That will not solve it. That's my short answer. You have also said that corruption and things are impinging. That I have already spoken, that the government must, the government will, and I will certainly write to the highest authorities, finance and others, please go into anything that is coming. Sometimes other agencies, you know, TV focuses in certain areas only. But if CVC is to do something, and I am in touch with him on other matters, my officers, if this other agency, CAG, they must also speed up as far as I am concerned and catch them, catch whoever it is.
Well, from Parliament, let's get you back to the state of Tamil Nadu, where some bizarre politics seems to be unfolding. In fact, the state CPM, which is a rather marginal player in the state, has accused the DMK of trying to send out death threats to its party workers in Madurai. Now, that claim was made today in a press conference. DMK, though, denies any such report and says all these allegations against its party men of sending death threats to CPM cadre are false.
விமர்சிக்கிற போது அந்த விமர்சனத்துல வந்து இருக்கக்கூடிய விஷயத்தை எடுத்துக்கிட்டு அரசோ மற்ற நடவடிக்கை எடுக்கணுமே தவிர அதுக்காக உங்களுக்கு வந்து இப்படி வந்து ஒரு ஆளுங்கட்சி வன்முறை என்பது மோசமானது இல்லை.
Well, the 36-hour storming operation called Operation Hamla in Chennai came to an end with the apprehension of a few commandos who actually acted as terrorists. Now, these commandos were playing out the role of terrorists, tried to breach the security cordon and were called the Red Force. They were assigned to breach the security and enter vital establishments, shopping malls and railway stations in a bid to cause major damage. More than 40 such commandos were pressed into service. On the other hand, the people who defend them were called the Blue Force. The state police, along with the Coastal Security Group, the Navy and the Coast Guard were part of this force.
Idea is that when this kind of situation comes, how much prepared we are. And when we got the message about the different accused going different places and all, so I think our officers, I mean, they will put their best efforts and almost 100% people are picked up.
We put the commandos as terrorists because they also get to understand how the terrorist mind works and what kind of route he can take. In that kind of topography, how would he think, how will he use the topography? That is why we put the commandos, so that when you put your foot in the foot of the terrorist, you get to know how will he use the terrain that's available and how will he think in the concerned terrain.
We're slipping into a very short break right now. Up on the other side, Maharaja loses his entire property worth 30,000 crores, and guess how? And here's a special way of paying your respects to God. That's coming up next. Stay with us.